The ICU machines beeped steadily around me. Ventilator, cardiac monitor for pumps delivering medications that kept my blood pressure from crashing. Through the morphine haze I could see the clock. 3:47 p.m. on Saturday. 72 hours since the car accident that had crushed my pelvis, fractured 4 ribs, lacerated my spleen, and caused internal bleeding that required emergency surgery. 72 hours and my parents hadn't visited once. My nurse, Jennifer, adjusted my foreline with practiced gentleness. "Sweetie, is there someone we can call for you? Family? Friends?" "My parents are doctors," I whispered, my voice weak. "They're busy." Jennifer's expression tightened slightly. "I saw their names on your intake form. Dr. Patricia and Dr. James Morrison. They work here, don't they? Dad's chief of surgery. Mom's head of emergency medicine. And they haven't been to see you yet?" She tried to keep her voice neutral, but I caught the edge. "My sister's birthday weekend. They're at a spa resort in the Berkshires. Family tradition." I closed my eyes against the pain that even morphine couldn't fully touch. "They said ICU visits can wait until Monday." Jennifer was quiet for a long moment. Then, "I'll be right back." I drifted, the machines breathing for me, monitoring me, keeping me alive while my body tried to heal from trauma that should have killed me. The trauma surgeon, Dr. Chin, had told me I was lucky. The drunk driver had hit my car at 60 miles per hour. I should have died on impact. Instead, I'd survived to spend my sister Melissa's birthday weekend alone in an ICU bed. My phone tucked beside me buzzed with a text. Mom's name appeared on the screen. "Hope you're feeling better. The spa is amazing. Your sister is having such a wonderful time. We'll visit Monday after your father's morning rounds. Rest up." Red heart. The heart emoji felt like a slap. Jennifer returned with Dr. Chin and another woman I didn't recognize. Older, authoritative, wearing an administrative badge that read, Dr. Rachel Foster, Chief of Medical Ethics. "Caitlin," Dr. Chin said gently, pulling up a chair beside my bed. "How are you feeling?" "Alive," I managed. "You are, though it was touch and go for a while. Your spleen repair was complicated. The pelvic fractures are going to require additional surgery next week. You're looking at months of recovery." "I know." Dr. Foster stepped forward. "Caitlin, I'm Dr. Foster from the Medical Ethics Board. I need to ask you some questions and I need you to be honest with me. Is it true that your parents are Dr. Patricia Morrison and Dr. James Morrison?" "Yes." "And they're both attending physicians here at Boston General?" "Yes." "When did they last visit you?" "They haven't. They're at a spa resort with my sister for her birthday weekend." Dr. Foster's jaw tightened. "They were notified of your accident when?" "Thursday night. I was admitted around 9 p.m. The hospital called them." "And what was their response?" I hesitated. Dad said. He said Friday was Melissa's actual birthday and they'd already paid for the resort. Non-refundable. He asked if I was stable and when the ICU nurse said yes, he said they'd visit Monday. "You were on a ventilator," Dr. Chin interjected. "Your condition was listed as critical. You'd just come out of a 4-hour emergency surgery." "But I was stable," I said weakly. He asked if I was stable. "Stable doesn't mean recovered," Dr. Foster said. "It means you weren't actively dying at that exact moment. Caitlin, you nearly died. You could still develop complications, infection, blood clots, organ failure. This is serious." "They're doctors," I said as if that explained everything. "They know medical stuff. They said Monday was fine." Dr. Foster exchanged a look with Dr. Chin that I couldn't quite interpret. "Has this happened before?" Dr. Foster asked carefully. "Your parents prioritizing other commitments over your medical needs?" I thought about the appendicitis when I was 16. How I'd spent 12 hours in agony before they'd taken me to the ER, because Melissa had a college interview they couldn't miss. The appendix had ruptured. I'd developed peritonitis. 3 weeks in the hospital. Your sister had a college interview. I'd heard Dad tell another doctor in the hallway. These things have to be prioritized. Sometimes, I admitted quietly. "Can you give me examples?" So I told her. The appendicitis. The severe pneumonia at 19 that went untreated for a week because they were at a medical conference. The broken wrist at 14 that wasn't casted for 3 days because it was Melissa's Sweet 16 weekend. "They're busy," I said. "Important doctors. And Melissa needs them more." She's pre-med at Harvard. I trailed off. Just what? Dr. Foster prompted. I'm a middle school art teacher. Not exactly saving lives. Jennifer made a sound that might have been anger swallowed back. Caitlin, Dr. Foster said, her voice gentle but firm, your parents are physicians who've repeatedly neglected their daughter's serious medical conditions. That's not just bad parenting. Given their medical expertise, it's negligent. Potentially criminally so. They didn't mean. Intent doesn't matter when the outcome is harm. Dr. Foster pulled out her tablet. I'm going to ask you something and I need complete honesty. Do I have your permission to review your complete medical history? And to present this situation to the ethics board? What would that do? It would initiate an investigation into whether your parents are fit to practice medicine. Physicians who can't properly assess and respond to medical emergencies, even in their own family, raise serious questions about their judgment and priorities. You could take away their licenses? The thought terrified me. No. I don't want that. They're good doctors. To their patients, perhaps. But Caitlin, you're in the ICU with life-threatening injuries and they chose a spa weekend. What if this was someone else's child? What if a doctor told another parent that ICU visits could wait until Monday because they had plans? I'd never thought about it that way. I need to think about it, I whispered. That's fair. But Caitlin, I want you to understand something. You matter. Your life matters. Your health matters. The fact that you're not pre-med at Harvard doesn't make you less important than your sister. And parents who can't see that have failed you in the most fundamental way. After they left, I stared at the ceiling tiles, counting the perforations, trying not to think about the choice Dr. Foster had laid before me. My phone buzzed again. Melissa's Instagram story. A photo of her and our parents at the spa, champagne glasses raised, beaming smiles. Caption, best birthday weekend ever. So grateful for my amazing family. Red heart. I wasn't in the family photo. As I was in the ICU. Sunday passed in a morphine haze. More surgery to stabilize my pelvis. More machines. More pain. No visitors. Another text from Mom. How are you feeling, sweetheart? Your father and I are having such a relaxing time. This was exactly what we needed. See you tomorrow. Hugs and kisses. Monday morning, 10:47 a.m., my parents finally arrived. Dad was tanned, relaxed. Mom wore a new outfit, probably purchased at the resort boutique. They both carried coffee from the hospital Starbucks. Caitlin, Mom said brightly, as if she'd just seen me yesterday instead of finding me in an ICU bed hooked to a dozen machines. You look so much better than I expected. Hi, Mom. Dad checked my chart with professional efficiency. Vitals look good. Chin did excellent work on the spleen repair. You'll be fine. How was the spa? I asked. Wonderful. Melissa had such a special birthday. The resort was 5-star, truly exceptional. Mom settled into the visitor's chair. We brought you back some lavender soap from the gift shop. Lavender soap. For the daughter who'd nearly died. Thanks. Your father and I were just saying how mature you've been about all this, Mom continued. Understanding that we had commitments. Not everyone would be so reasonable about a little delay in visiting. A little delay. 4 days. 4 days in the ICU. Actually, a voice said from the doorway, we need to discuss that. Dr. Foster entered, followed by 2 other people I recognized from their badges. Dr. Michael Torres, chairman of the medical board, and Lisa Chin, hospital legal counsel. Patricia James, Dr. Torres said, his voice cold. We need to talk. Now. My parents looked confused. We're visiting our daughter, Dad started. You're visiting your daughter 4 days after she was admitted to the ICU with life-threatening injuries, Dr. Foster corrected. 4 days during which you were at a spa resort while she underwent multiple emergency surgeries. Mom's expression shifted from confusion to alarm. Now wait a minute. Conference room. Now. Dr. Torres gestured to the door. Caitlin will be back. Jennifer will stay with you. After they left, Jennifer squeezed my hand. You didn't give permission, did you? I didn't. But I didn't say no either. Good, she said fiercely. Because what they did to you. That's not okay. And someone needs to say it. I found out later what happened in that conference room. Jennifer told me, breaking about 6 confidentiality rules, but she said I deserved to know. Dr. Foster had presented my complete medical history. Every delayed treatment. Every "it can wait" moment. Every time my parents had prioritized Melissa's non-medical events over my medical emergencies. The appendicitis that ruptured. The pneumonia that became severe. The broken wrist that healed wrong because it wasn't set properly. And now the ICU stay they'd skipped for a spa weekend. "You're both physicians," Dr. Torres had said according to Jennifer's account. "You understand triage. You understand critical care. You understand that stable doesn't mean recovered. Yet you made a conscious choice to leave your critically injured daughter alone in an ICU for a birthday spa weekend." "She was stable," my father had argued. We asked. The ICU confirmed she was stable. She was on a ventilator with a repaired spleen, fractured pelvis, and multiple trauma injuries. She could have developed complications at any moment. But more than that, she was alone. In pain. And you were getting massages. "Our daughter Melissa," Mom had started. "Your daughter Caitlin was in the ICU," Dr. Foster had cut her off. "That takes priority. Always. The fact that you don't understand that raises serious questions about your judgment." The board had pulled records from their medical practice, looking for other instances where their priorities might have compromised patient care. They'd found concerning patterns. Delayed responses to pages. Missed patient follow-ups. Rescheduled critical consultations for personal events. Nothing catastrophic, but a pattern of prioritizing convenience over urgency. "You're both being placed on immediate administrative leave," Dr. Torres had concluded, "pending a full ethics investigation. Your hospital privileges are suspended. You will not practice medicine until this review is complete." My parents had tried to argue. Threatened lawyers. Claimed discrimination. "You abandoned your daughter in the ICU for a spa weekend," Dr. Foster had said flatly. "Explain to any lawyer how that demonstrates the judgment required to practice medicine. Explain to any ethics board. Explain to the media when this becomes public." That last part had stopped them cold. When they returned to my ICU room, they looked shaken. "Caitlin," Dad said stiffly, "we need to know. Did you authorize this investigation?" "No," I said honestly. "But I didn't stop it either. This could destroy our careers," Mom said, her voice tight. "Over a simple misunderstanding about visiting hours." "It's not visiting hours," I said quietly. "It's 4 days. 4 days when I could have died and you were at a spa. 4 days when I woke up from surgery alone. 4 days when Jennifer held my hand because you weren't here. You were stable. I was scared." The words came out louder than I'd intended, making the monitors beep in protest. I was 28 years old in the ICU, wondering if I'd ever walk normally again, and my parents chose champagne and massages over being here. Silence. "We thought Melissa needed us," Mom said finally. "Her birthday. I needed you. But I'm never the one who needs you more than Melissa, am I? She's pre-med. She's Harvard. She's the successful one. I'm just the art teacher who doesn't matter as much." "That's not true," Dad said, but he couldn't meet my eyes. "Then why wasn't I worth a 4-hour drive? Why has my medical care always been secondary to her social calendar? Why did my appendix have to rupture before you'd take me to the ER?" Neither of them had an answer. The ethics investigation took 6 weeks. During that time, my parents were suspended without pay. The story leaked, hospital gossip being what it was, and several medical blogs picked it up. Prominent surgeons suspended after abandoning daughter in ICU. The public attention was brutal. Melissa called furious. "You destroyed their careers. Over 1 weekend. How could you be so selfish?" "I almost died," I said flatly. "And they were at your spa weekend. But sure, I'm the selfish one." She hung up. The ethics board's final ruling came down on a Tuesday. I was in rehab by then, learning to walk again with my rebuilt pelvis. Both parents received formal reprimands. 6-month suspension of privileges. Mandatory ethics training. 2 years of supervised practice upon reinstatement. The reprimands would remain in their permanent files. They didn't lose their licenses. But they'd lost their positions. Dad was no longer chief of surgery. Mom was no longer head of emergency medicine. When they came to tell me, they looked 10 years older. "We're sorry," Dad said, and for the first time he sounded like he meant it. "Caitlin, we're so sorry. We failed you. Not just that weekend but for years. You deserved better. Yes, I agreed. I did. Can you forgive us? Mom asked. I looked at them. These brilliant physicians who'd somehow forgotten that their daughter was more than a medical chart to be triaged. I don't know yet, I said honestly. Right now I'm focused on learning to walk again. On healing. On building a life where I matter, not just when it's convenient. We want to be part of that life, Dad said. Then prove it. Not with words. With actions. With being here when I need you, not when it fits your schedule. With treating me like I matter as much as Melissa. We will, Mom promised. We'll do better. I hope so, I said. Because I'm done being the daughter who doesn't matter enough. 6 months later I walked again. Slowly with a cane, but I walked. My parents came to every physical therapy appointment. Every follow-up. Every small victory. Melissa came too eventually. Apologized. Said she'd never understood how bad it was. We rebuilt something. Not what we'd had before, that was broken beyond repair. But something new. Something honest. Something built on the understanding that love means showing up. Not when it's convenient, but when it matters most. And I finally mattered. The ICU stay they'd skipped had taught them that lesson the hardest way possible. But at least they'd finally learned it. My mechanical heart valve from another story might click as a reminder. But my cane was my reminder. Of the weekend my parents chose a spa over their daughter. And the ethics board that finally made them accountable. I was still an art teacher. Still not pre-med at Harvard. But I was finally enough. Just as I was. And that was worth more than any degree.